Are you trying to build a B2B SaaS, but you're having a hard time increasing sales? Look no further. My next guest has built multiple SaaS products, and in this episode, he talks about 4 key steps on how to increase sales. Hint, number 4 is the equivalent of striking gold. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's extremely easy. If you want to increase sales, this episode's for you. Please welcome Tim Branyan. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Good to have you here. So before we kick things off, why don't you tell us something about yourself that most people don't know?
Yeah. So most people, know I'm in business and know I have a family, etc. But most people don't know that I am a super nerd gamer. I play League of Legends, a game called Team Fight Tactics, which is a 5-on-5 kind of interactive board game. And most people don't know. They do now, though. Now that it's public, that I'm a super nerd and I play that game.
It's out there for the world to see. A gamer. All right. That's a new one on the show. Well, sweet. Let's dive in here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and then we'll get into what you're working on today.
Yeah. So I grew up here in Kokomo, Indiana, about 30 minutes north of Indianapolis, in a small town called Kokomo, not the island. It's also known as the City of First. You and I were just jamming about that before we started the podcast. And my options and opportunities weren't robust, right? I could go work at the factory. I could work at some of these blue collar roles, and that was never really appealing. Very primitively, I looked at who was going to college and who went to the military, and I thought that the folks going to the military route had cooler career titles, and they had money in their pockets when they came home to the bar. And I just admired who I saw them become versus some of the college folks that I knew. So I was like, maybe there's something to this. I jumped at the chance. I joined the United States Air Force when I was 18. It changed my life. I went to good places, bad places, learned about teamwork, had a high level of camaraderie. The mission was admirable. So first ever time I really had a career, or a job, or a team that I was really proud of, the history and the valor and such. As a military police officer, I learned all sorts of tactics and mission planning, and I was in charge of logistics arsenals, if you will, millions and millions of dollars worth of ammunition and weaponry at a young age. And I think just who I became through those 4 years is just, I still have some of those characteristics I'm proud of: integrity, service before self, excellence in what I do. And the transition point from the military, I tried to go to university after my time in the military. I got really just depressed. I felt like cattle, like folks were just there because that was this next kind of linear milestone, maybe an expectation. The energy was low. I ultimately, felt restless and discontent and jumped back into service. But as a civilian contractor, I worked for a company called Constellus, doing similar work to the military, personnel security detail, military police style work. And I did that for 3.5 years in Kuwait and Dubai. And that was cool. But ultimately, it's what really activated the entrepreneurial spirit, the desire for true freedom, which I believed at that time, still believe today, that the only way to really do that is through entrepreneurship and ownership and selling to the market, providing solutions. And so I racked my brain for months and months and months, really kind of creating an escape plan, and technology made sense. It was something that was low cost. It was something that could be global. It was something in my head at the time that I didn't require a huge infrastructure. Like, I didn't need a bunch of team members and different personnel to put on payroll. It just seemed like low hanging fruit. So got into the industry. That was like 11 and a half years ago. I got scammed for $25,000. My first intro into the software world was trying to find developers that could take this crazy idea and turn it into fruition. Got scammed for $25K. That, fortunately I didn't quit. I kept at it. I knew that I had something. About $115,000 later and 2.5 years of just failure and learning, we arrived at a really great product that ended up doing well. And that was kind of the first home run, and this realization that, oh my gosh, we can do it. I can do this. That, long story short, it's continued to progress. We've launched multiple different software tools. Some have done multi-millions of dollars. We're completely bootstrapped, which I'm proud of. We were talking about that earlier, Sean.
Hmm.
And I'm like still aggressively curious. I'm still learning, and yeah, the team's growing, and I'm excited where we're at in that world. And outside of like the business world, I'm a dad with a beautiful wife, two awesome kids, a 3 and a 5 year old, and I guess over the years, my objective has switched from profit to purpose. I want to use my gifts and align them with my what I think is my responsibility. I'm a proud Christian man, just trying to live my life towards um, servanthood. And technology has now become this thing that is shifted to allow me to do that in a multitude of different arenas. So that's kind of a little bit what's going on now, and I'm excited to get into a conversation. And like I
Sure.
told you before we started, I just want to be of value to your listeners and folks that end up hearing these sound waves.
Really enjoyed your backstory there, and thanks for your service, by the way.
Yeah.
You're not the only guy who has left the military, jumping into college, thinking like, "What am I doing?" Like it's just like you're going 100 miles an hour, and you slam into a brick wall. Like now I'm going slow as molasses. So you made a move there. I like some of the moves you made, and it kind of led into tech. Let's drill into that first business you created. You said you invested about $150,000. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, the first one that I failed to create was called Media Rocket Pro, and I learned several valuable lessons with this one. This tool was back in the early days, an Instagram automation tool. So the idea was to help create traffic and awareness for an individual user. And if you're an individual user on Instagram, let's say you have a profile, you could basically digitally tap an ideal prospect on the shoulder and have them come and view your profile. You had the ability to filter and automate your functionality on Instagram to then drive ideal traffic and views back to your account. We built a software that allowed people to filter through, account size, followers of of a specific account. We did all that, and that so that platform cost about 25,000 to
Okay.
build, get it up. It ended up giving me a really big learning experience. It actually went on to be really successful, but we got a cease and desist from Facebook because of how it engaged with their API. So this was my first learning experience into what API was and how it functioned and
Hmm.
what are terms and conditions. I was just out solving problems and didn't put that into account, that there were rules and regulations and how you operated with other social media platforms. So it was a great learning experience. Where I failed for 100,000 was a tool called, I'm drawing a complete blank. It wasn't called Lead Feed, but it was an adaptation of that tool. We worked with a stateside team, and just nothing came to fruition. I couldn't even log into the platform. It was a long, elongated time frame of a ton of communication, a lot of money and resources, and nothing ever left the shipyard. So it was this terrible feeling of like, time waste and resources waste. But ultimately, what I learned about myself was that I can love someone and I can want them to be who I want them to be. But when somebody's showing you that they're not throwing touchdowns, it's better
Hmm.
for the best team. It's better for the entirety of the team to take that person out of the game, so you can put in someone that's actually putting rubber to the road. So my problem there was spending way too much time trying to get someone to be someone that they were not being, and that's almost like over loving someone versus really focusing on the mission and the team in general. So
Sure.
that was a tough lesson because I deeply care and I knew what the person was capable of. So anyway, that was a learning experience from the loss, which was 100 and some odd thousand
Sure.
dollars in a whole year.
Was this a developer that was on your team or maybe external that you invested that $100,000 in?
I was attempting to build a stateside development team at that point,
Yeah.
and I found key people, and the key people that I found had some good synergies, but ultimately they didn't vibe. They were all part-time. Each was doing something. It was very much bootstrappy,
Yeah.
and didn't work out the way that I had initially envisioned and hoped that it would.
Hmm. Gotcha.
So
So you moved on from that to back. Let's backtrack a second. Media Rocket Pro, did that sell? Did you end up selling that business?
Yeah, I did. So once we got the cease and desist, we had a pretty crucial conversation of who do we want to be? What do we want to do? Obviously, we complied immediately and shut everything down. So we went from making uh, a great residual to literally virtually nothing within a matter of 24 hours, which is a huge uppercut. And
Hmm.
I pulled the team together. It's like, well, what are we going to do? We're not going to just stop, right? Like, who do we want to be? What do we want to do? It's a really crucial conversation moment, and we hit the drawing board. We started figuring out, okay, well, what other pains are out there? Where are some low hanging fruits? Where do we think we could sell to? We knew that we could build solutions or vehicles, if you will, tech vehicles. Um, but we wanted to just kind of remove ourselves from that social media space and focus more so on like small business owners and such. So the next tool that we built is a platform called RepuStream, which is a reputation management platform for small business owners that want to translate their offline sentiment, offline reviews to online where it matters. So that was a cool tool. Since rebranded, I own a minor equity position in it now. I'm more so a consultant
Hmm.
or passive owner, and it's called Sendly now, and it's specifically for real estate agents.
Hmm.
So we just, after going after once you start investigating like new client acquisition, you start going down the rabbit hole of what I call chopping the tree. You start getting into sales and outreach. You tend to discover opportunities or niches that you don't often think of, right off the bat. It's just a requirement to start swinging the axe, if you will, to find out, you know, yeah, to learn. So that's kind of what happened as a result of that pivot is just
Right.
learning. Uh,
Now, just to kind of connect the dots here before we dive into what you're working on now, Media
mhm.
Pro Rocket you sold,
Yeah,
RepuStream, did you sell it? Is it still in place so it generates residuals?
it's still in existence, but it's called Sendly now.
It is.
Sindly. Yep,
Got it.
for real
Okay.
estate agents. Yep, and
Got
Media
it.
Rocket Pro, I exited that to a friend. He wanted the source code, so that wasn't like I think when I think of an
Hmm.
acquisition or an exit, I imagine like attorneys and all these C-level guys
Hmm.
sitting around and doing numbers and such. It was definitely not that way at all. It was, hey man, this thing's making this much. We're out of it. It was a friend deal. And
Okay.
he got a great deal on that source code and I have no idea what they're doing with it now, to be honest. But
Okay.
yeah.
So then Sendly, is that your main business today, or what's your main business?
No. So my main business now, I own Logic Square Technologies LLC, and we are a custom development house. We have 67 developers. We build custom solutions for the federal government. We build custom solutions for the state of Indiana now, which we're really proud of. We also build custom solutions for solo entrepreneurs or companies, individuals all around the world. So that's one of my primary focuses right now, specifically government tech. So GSA, and
Hmm.
there's a whole sea of different opportunities in that industry. And then the main software that I'm focused on is called True Fans, which
Yeah.
is one that we built. It's in a social media space. It's really kind of a direct competitor to Instagram, Twitter, Meta, whatever you want
Hmm.
to. And what it is, it's a wholesome alternative for creators that want to monetize without the stigma. So while it's similar to OnlyFans or Patreon, we think it's better because it pays more, pays faster. We're 100% invite only. More features and functions for creators to earn and monetize, but we don't allow porn. So we're more of a classy or wholesome alternative for creators that want to make money, but
Hmm.
again, don't want to be associated to the typical stigma.
Got it.
So the whole emphasis of that platform is just to give folks a stage, if you will, a home, so they own their data. There's no ads. They can create a space to create their own residual passive income and have upsells and such, host their courses, all that really easily. So instead of having to typically, build your own platform or
Sure.
hire a web developer or use maybe an existing Kartra, things of that nature, this is a very simple, familiar environment to most influencers or creator types.
You
So
mentioned a keyword there, course. Would you say it's like a course platform competitive to like maybe a Teachable or Kajabi or something like that?
yeah, definitely. It just offers more, I think, in comparison to some of those are specifically for, learning management style course material. So videos,
Yep.
photos, uploads and such. Ours has a section for that on top of an active encrypted messaging system, the opportunity to go live and earn through live events, lockable and unlockable content, meaning, you may have paid for subscription content, but you can also have free content dripped in. So it's just, there's a lot more versatility and simplicity than a Kajabi, or I think that's kind of our competitive advantage, is just the fact that it's super
Sure.
simple and offers a little bit more.
So it sounds like your main business is a service business. You have an agency essentially. You're building software for other entities. Right on.
Yep, that's the main focus right now, is
And
is building tech specifically for the federal government. We're wanting to get larger contracts with organizations internal of the federal government.
got it. Let's take a quick commercial break. Have you ever lost money in the stock markets? Maybe you saw something on YouTube, read something on Reddit, or maybe you heard something from a friend. Yeah, I think we've all been there. Most people lose money in the stock market because of emotions. What if you could remove emotions from investing? And what if there was an easy button for investing? Introducing Ticker, a platform that helps investors manage their own investments confidently. It's perfect for beginners and it will save advanced investors a lot of time. Check this out. Here's some of the key features. All right, we have stocks, ETFs, and crypto. We also have a watch list feature, which is my favorite feature. It's the set it and forget it feature. If something changes on your watch list, you get notified. That way you can sell a stock before you lose a lot of money. We also have a portfolio tracker and custom alerts on stocks, ETFs, and crypto. Now, I could talk about Ticker all day, but don't take my word for it. Go to Trustpilot and see what our customers have to say, or we have a 4.9 out of 5. And if you're interested, you can join Ticker for free. So it's, you got your focus on the service business, but it sounds like you've kind of got this umbrella over a few other businesses, Sendly being one, and then this True Fans being another. Yeah. Do you have any others under the portfolio?
So there's True Fans, there's Sendly, closewise.com is another one that I have equity in. That is for notaries. It's basically a notary network, similar to like an Uber, if you will, but for notaries to do signings and closings. It's a really unique platform. My buddy Tyler Temple owns it, and I basically facilitated the connection to a development team and then helped with strategies and brought him to some events. And again, now more so like a springboard or a guide, if you will, some obstacles.
Right on.
Let's see. I think that's it. We're working on a couple. We also have like partnerships with like large insurance companies, professional service providers, where we've built software for them. And we have, we don't have equity, but we do have performance-based incentives written into some of our contracts, and that's cool. I always look for those like mutually profitable win-wins, where maybe we reduce dev cost up front, but we get an ongoing for, supplying a service or supplying an enhancement to what they have going on. Those are always fun. Those create, mutually profitable benefit.
I want to get a little snapshot of your current service business and then start unpacking how you're able to build and then monetize some of your online businesses. There are a lot of people, especially a lot of our listeners, they want to do exactly that. They're trying to come up with an idea. How do I build it? Then how do I monetize it? It's kind of like the dream come true business model. So real quick here, your business now, do you have other partners in this service business?
Each company has different partners. Some have more of the same partners than others. So one of my most active partners is Logan Shippey, and then Chris Beatty is another one of my partners. And then Vineet Harbajanka is he's my CTO in pretty much all of these. He's everything I'm not, and vice versa. So he helps really manage some of the tech infrastructure and identify what a good paint job is, if you will, and helps coordinate the team around ideas. I'm more so facilitating visions and ideas from stakeholders into blueprints and cross communicating.
Yeah.
That's really kind of my strength, is to fill in gaps and have empathy and understanding to what's being communicated, what the aim or result is that somebody's aiming for, and then helping them solidify an actual plan, visually and written, that will get that across the line.
Sure.
So
kind of like a product owner / project manager all in one. I kind of look at your role as.
Yes, definitely. That would be my kind of sweet spot on a team is project manager, just helping lead and facilitate cross communication and even
Hmm.
putting out fires. Sometimes I'm really good at that because I understand everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got a different lane, and
Hmm.
sometimes we step on one another, whether it's front end or back end, or a product owner that wants to move fast but doesn't realize like expectations and the reality of a situation. I'm pretty good at, I guess, yeah, ensuring that things are smooth across departments.
Right on.
Um,
Or I should say, here's the question. It's what is it? Logic Square Technologies. Is that
yep.
correct? Okay.
hmm
How big is your team?
We have about 67 developers.
Wow.
We've got 4 guys here stateside, and then the rest are in Delhi and Calcutta. I was
Yep.
just in Delhi and Calcutta. We launched a new office in Calcutta. That was really exciting to be a part of that, and participate in the ceremony, which was very unique for me as a North American guy to see just kind of what that ritual looked like and that blessing in the building.
Hmm.
But our team's very young. It's funny. I was the old guy. I'm 34 years old, and my partner Vineet is 38, but the rest of our team are very young and just sharp. They're 21, 22. I think our older senior developers are like 30,
Okay.
28. So
Sure.
uh, it was just cool to see that and get to know their stories. And but yeah, that's our core team.
That's
And
Yeah, a good perspective on who's behind the scenes here building the tech. So pretty sizable team, which is awesome. Sounds like a really small percentage here in the States. Then you do leverage offshore talent. We do the same thing. Our dev team is completely offshores. I'm
yeah.
actually the only person here in the States. But anyway, with one of these online businesses, let's dive into it a little bit. I want to look at Closewise, the notary
hmm
platform. Is this a SaaS platform?
Yeah, this is a SaaS. Um, and it launched pretty much, I think last year we got it live
Okay.
and started putting people in it.
So let's walk through the journey a little bit. From the point of like, where's the pain? Where do you identify solution? Did you start interviewing people and then start building the product? Kind of walk us through the journey a little bit.
Yeah. So uh, this one, the pain was already understood. My partner, his family is one of the largest notary networks in South Carolina,
Hmm.
and they're very familiar with the industry. They've been doing it for a generation, and they have relationships with banks, so they're getting closings. Now, their software was extremely outdated and not efficient, really, not functional. It worked, but it required a ton of time and due diligence, like due diligence. And so the idea was from real pain, like real experiences of annoyance. And those are typically the best. Like when somebody's going through something and they're frustrated with it, whether you're looking to build something or you're looking for an idea or you are the person that's experiencing the pain, writing those down um, is a good step one to identify opportunity and gaps or ways to speed things up or slow things down or organize them. So for me, it was fortunately uh, Tyler already knew what sucked, what needed help,
Hmm.
and meeting with him and showing him what we had built in the past started to put together the pieces to the puzzle, if you will. So we had a CRM component that we built, for my own use. We had an affiliate system that we built for my own use. We had, an email sending and receiving system, a notification system, all these pieces already existing. So just enlightening him to what's possible, he then took over creating more of a lay of the land. And as far as coming up with the ideal minimum sellable product, right? So
Hmm.
typically, just to kind of frame it all out, step one is identify what what sucks, what's going on in the
Yep.
market, what is annoying, what is the pain, and kind of follow that journey. What's the result of the pain? Dig into it, find the actual damages that also becomes a unique selling proposition. But identify and exaggerate this pain, and then step two is, some people are better than this than others, but identifying the solutions, right? Like what could be done and most of the time with tech, you're going to save time, you're going to save energy, you can reduce cost. I'm not saying all the time, but generally there's a way through technology to speed things up or slow things down or repackage, reorganize, redistribute that will solve some of those general pains, right? So in that same phase, you want to communicate very clearly. Ambiguity is the killer of uh, software projects, I think, is when there's lack of planning, there's lack of full understanding and cross communication. That's ambiguity. So as you're in phase two and you're like deciding these features and functions and filling the gaps, you want to communicate through every means of communication as possible. So like audio, visual, written is super helpful when you're, then going to maybe find developers or communicating with your own developers. I know a lot of times like folks like me that are wanting to build software or have an idea for an app, like you go out to the market, typically, maybe the strategy is go to Upwork or go to Fiverr.
Yeah.
That is rolling the dice. Not that you can't find great people, but good luck and I guess hire and fire fast. In that, I would like if I was to go back, I would say that it would be more wise to find somebody that has a scaled product and ask them who they work with or who they're working with
Yeah.
and just kind of reverse engineer it. Find tech owners and work through their teams or work through their connections. And once you have a good blueprint and an understanding of what it is that you want to build or do, that's going to help you get measurable quotes. It's going to help you start comparing and contrasting teams based on their communication. And that's really step three, right? Like once you have an ideal team, you've got your blueprint, you've got your concept that is going to fill gaps or solve problems. It's solutions oriented. It's an amazing product that people would be dumb to say no to. The third step is, getting it built, having that built. Let's assume that you get that done right away. Awesome.
Yeah, to interject here real quick, with this step three,
Mhm.
I want to hear your perspective because it might be the same as my process. Do you bring your first customer or customers into that process? Do you bring them into that journey and say, hey, this is what we're looking to build? And we want to kind of use you as a key
Yeah.
stakeholder, get your feedback along the way so we don't deviate away from something you won't use.
That's a genius idea because you're going to collect the answers to the test. When you bring people in that have a an invested stake in using the thing that you're building, they're going to give you intel and the answers to the test. And the cool part is they also become early bird users. I mean, there's an entire platform dedicated to this concept called AppSumo, which is really cool. I don't know if you're familiar with AppSumo, Sean. Um,
We're on it. We've brought in a lot of customers from it, you could say.
Yeah, and that's a cool platform that people could at least know exists for exactly what we're describing, which is getting the answers to the test, even potentially getting paid for the process of learning and adapting your product. It's a genius idea, and definitely recommend that if you can get a test group or an early bird
Hmm.
access group. And what you'll find is a lot of people love to test and be a part of a build. You just have to frame it right and give them an environment where it's easy for you and easy for them to communicate. So some folks use Facebook, some folks use, WhatsApp groups, Telegram,
Hmm.
Discord. Discord's a little challenging and wonky for some. But yeah, find a good environment where you can create a test group and learn and adapt. And yeah, it's a great idea. The hardest one is, I guess, step four. We'll say this is step four. Once you have this great product and it's live and it's functioning and it's solving problems, uh, where I see a lot of tech companies struggle or companies in general is just sales, like new client acquisition,
Hmm.
getting people in. They typically uh, do a lot of hope marketing or hope referrals and hope,
Yeah.
and that's some people's strengths are building the product and engineering. You got to have somebody that has a strength with outreach and marketing and new client acquisition. So, and one of the things that I typically recommend is direct outreach. So, assuming let's say we're still talking about Closewise, I know that it's through trial and error. I know that it's not effective to send messages on LinkedIn, like text messaging on LinkedIn. It's just not. I mean, you can go try it and prove me wrong. At least it hasn't been for me. So what we do is send video messages, right? So I'll literally, step one, I need to search for my ideal client or who I think it is. I get on LinkedIn, the search, and I'm literally screen sharing myself on the individual's profile. And I say, hey, Sean, my name's Tim. I'm literally looking up CFOs or CEOs just like you. Here's exactly why. I have a product that's going to help you save time, save energy, da 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 da. Hey, man, if I scheduled a quick demo call, would you attend? That way I can learn more about you, give you a quick tutorial or bird's eye view of what this is and how I think it can serve you. All right, talk soon. And
Cool.
that puts me in a different caliber than most people, like on LinkedIn. Somebody's going to watch that, they're going to respect that. I've kind of filtered myself away from the crowd that's just sending DMs. It's an admired approach when I'm very direct and honest, and also just showing that, hey, I'm putting in this effort to connect with you, and here's why. People's guard typically goes down, and then I get those bookings, which then oftentimes results in a new connection or maybe a referral from that person if they're not directly interested. It's just exposure, and when you've got a system to do that, now you can start digging into the numbers and how many times, how many DMs you send out per week. And then, the main thing is I get excited about this topic because it works, but the main thing is as you're going the way, like go the way so you can know the way and then show the way. Because, you as the founder, you as the project manager, you should be the most excited about your product. But when you go this way, you'll be able to teach the next person and delegate and save yourself time with an effective method that then becomes scalable, right? So,
I'm going to go through all four at a high level in a minute, but first, this is a gold nugget. Let's dive into this tactical approach. You put together a short video. Do
mhm.
you use like Loom, or what do you use what software do you use?
So I've got one that's called VidStream. I think it's called VidStream. I'll find it
Okay,
real quick. I don't want to say it wrong. It's
sure.
Vidyard.
Oh, I'm
So
familiar. Yeah.
Vidyard is really cool because it allows you to create, like if I wanted to, I could create a thumbnail for it. And I literally have one of the coolest strategies. This is fun. The little strategy I have is I have a whiteboard and I put the person's first and last name on the whiteboard as the thumbnail. And that's me saying, hey, Sean, it's before they even hit the play button, it's got their first and last name on it on a whiteboard. And that's really compelling. But the cool part about Vidyard is it shows you statistics and if somebody pressed play, how long they watched. It gives you some really good insight into how effective it's, yeah,
And
it is.
and how long do you make the video?
Man, like less than 60 seconds, less than,
60 seconds.
yeah, it's mainly, hey, here's who I am. I'm real. I'm authentic. I'm actually on your page right now. Here's why I'm reaching out to you. And I just typically just give bullet points as to why the person should care. And then the ask is very tactical on purpose. It's if I scheduled a demo call, would you attend? How you sound matters. Everybody has their own
Of
tonality,
course.
but like I was saying before, like actively chopping the tree down, going to the gym of sending these out, you're going to develop your confidence. You're going to develop your repetition and your tone that is you, and that's what people are craving is authenticity, um, and that's what makes you unique, and really kind of empowers your brand is your authentic you,
Mm.
um, and that's what'll resonate. So
To drill into
yeah.
one point there, the way you phrased it felt a little weird, which if you were to show, how did you phrase that? If you were to show up for a call, or would you phrase it like this, like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah, if I scheduled a demo call, would you attend? That way I can help you see,
okay,
help you see exactly how I think this platform could help X. If I did something for you, would you, it's a very reciprocal
sure,
question that lets the guard down. It's not, hey, what's the best time to get on a call with you? Or, hey, could I grab 5 minutes of your count? I'm not asking, I'm
I
saying, hey, if I
see.
did something for you, would you do something? Could we make this amicable? I'm starting the relationship on an amicable front,
Yeah.
which is, hey, Sean, if I did this, and genuinely, when I'm looking for prospects, I'm genuinely looking for something or someone that I can serve and create that long-term relationship with the solution that we have. And I think that's another, key reason, like the heart and mind posture where I'm coming at with this. I'm not just trying to get their dollars. I'm genuinely trying to create this fruition, you know, uh, relationship between what we have and and what I think they need. And that's a fun thought, right? So as you're going through the motions and those numbers, if you do have a product or service that's going to help somebody, I think it becomes your responsibility to get out there and send some uncomfortable DMs. Most people are going to find this radically uncomfortable because it is. If you've never done direct outreach or if you're in
Yep.
tech, I know our industry, and um, it's it's not marketable. It's monotonous.
Hmm.
It's not something that's going to feel fun. It may be exciting. I hope you find it exciting eventually. It'll push you into discomfort, but the results on the other side of proving one method of direct outreach to create, warm traffic from cold can make you millions of dollars. I mean, I'm living proof.
Yeah.
So
I want to touch on a few points here, especially I like to kind of break the fourth wall and speak to the audience a little bit. So Vidyard, you guys, VIDWARD.com. It's a basic SaaS platform. I'm on their site. The pricing, they got a free plan and then pro plan is 19 bucks a month. It looks like, so really low price point. I love your four-step approach here. I just want to read it back to you real quick, and you
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, but that fourth point is just gold. So the first one is identify a problem. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. Step two, assemble a team. Yep. All right. Step three, develop a product with the customer. And step four, direct outreach with video. For those of you out there, stop LinkedIn messaging me on how great your marketing agency is. I probably get like 5 of those messages per day. Or
Yeah,
here's one, how I can get you won't believe the amount of pitches I get for editing podcasts or promotions. Like, I already have a team. I have
yeah.
stop, So I love this Vidyard approach. This is gold. 60-second video. Here's who I am. I'm a regular dude. Here's why I can help you. List some of the pain points they already have because the customer avatar,
Yep.
if you will. And then I like your pitch there. If I schedule a demo, would you
Would you
attend?
attend? It's
That's
huge, and it will
gold.
work. It will work exceptionally well. It lets their guard down, and you'll be shocked at how many more demos you get just using that one phrase.
Hmm. I like your approach there too, because somebody did pitch me once, one time, and I did jump on a call with them. They had a little whiteboard. It was probably like, I don't know, 10 inches by 10 inches.
Yeah.
What do you get one at Walmart for a few bucks,
I got
right?
mine on Amazon. I'm looking at it across from me right now.
Right.
And what's funny, you look at like that price, the $10. I mean, the ROI from that, if you use it and you get more, I mean, it's huge. Yeah,
It, you know what? When it happened to me, I was like, that guy got me on a call pretty easily. And the fact that you're saying this works, like, I tell you what, I'm going to Amazon right after this. I'm going to order one.
if you've experienced, see, the same thing happened to me. I didn't come up with, I experienced this, and then a buddy of mine, Jordan, made a video about this topic, and I was like, well, no, this makes perfect sense as to why this would work. It's yeah, it's uncommon. You're breaking up the
Hmm.
norm,
Yeah.
and you're standing out, and you're doing so with your own. Yeah, it just works. And I was in the same boat as you, Sean. I admired the person that sent it to me, and I appreciated the change of pace and just the breath of fresh air, because I don't read the long messages anymore. I just more so get annoyed and delete it or block somebody, just because it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
right. And stop with the messages. Yeah, the
yes.
DMs. Um, I love this. I'm going to title this video something like the 4 key steps to selling SaaS or B2B SaaS. Like, this is an extremely logical and simple strategy for selling software.
On number four, I mean, one of the things to consider, we could go into depth on each one of these topics. One of the things to
Sure.
consider is your vehicle as you're doing outreach. If you look like crap in person, right, and you go and try and talk to the gal, she may not give you the time of the day. The same thing's true if you look like crap on LinkedIn. Your vehicle's got a flat tire. It doesn't look trustworthy. It looks like it's
Hmm.
barely running. You're probably not going to get the same response rate that you would as if you looked awesome and your car was buffed and it was nice and it was a trustworthy vehicle. So consider before you do these outreaches, that you've got a great profile picture, a basic. It doesn't have to be super extravagant, but a filled out LinkedIn bio, and your
Yeah.
your page is good. It represents you and your company and what you're about and what you do and have done. Because 99% of the time, people are going to click that button to look at who you are and what you're about, to do a little bit of reconnaissance before they decide to fully confirm to a call. Or if they are on that call, they're going to look you up probably before then. And you want to have already kind of set the tone of who you are, why you're awesome. And yeah, you can do that simply by owning your internet footprint, if you will.
Yeah. To kind of speak to that, and then we'll jump into the rapid fire round. Definitely like do the work, put in the work on making sure your video background, like I can tell for those of you that are watching this podcast or you're on YouTube, Tim's got a great background. He's got a really nice mic. You get a nice shirt. I usually go t-shirts because try to simplify
I was at a
investing. So
meeting.
it's
Normally
right.
I don't look like this. Right.
Yeah. I'm not, my business isn't a B2B play. It's B2C, and we try to make investing more approachable. So I probably won't use your sales tactic for our general customer, but for business to business, definitely love it. But yeah, like the little things, making sure your LinkedIn profile is like a waist up or shoulder up shot, not something of you like standing, like feet up with sunglasses. You can't see the person then, or right. And you've got all your grammar on points within your title and your body of your paragraph or whatever your description. And then, the little details on how you're writing the text that complements the video, right? The message that goes out, because you've got the link, right? This Vidyard link plus a little bit of text. You don't want to make sure that's all on point.
Yeah. I keep it simple. When I'm sending out connection requests, it's just, hey, Sean, my name's Tim. Would love to connect with you. I don't send long like connection request messages. It's just super short. Hey, I saw this. Would love to connect with you. I'm actively connecting with podcasters. Would love to chat. Tim. Super short, sweet. I'm not, again, the objective is to try to not be like everyone else. And just keep in mind, people like to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So as you're setting up your profiles and as you're creating your outreach, think about what you would like and what you would want with internet etiquette. So,
smart.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. We have a limited amount of time here, but I still want to get a few questions here with the rapid fire round. So if you can, try to answer each question in about 15 seconds or less. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast is Alex Sanfilippo's podcast, just because I'm a big Alex fan, and his heart's just in the right place for this industry in general. Just podcasting. He's just fun to talk to too. His energy and all that.
All right. What is a recent book you read and would recommend?
Really anything Alex Hormozi is just so good for the actionables, but $100 Million Offer is wonderful for folks. And it's a good caveat to this, talking about creating a product that's a no-brainer. Start with that one, $100 Million Offer by Alex Hormozi.
Yeah, good suggestion. All right. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is honestly like the most radical movie that was way beyond its time, The Matrix. That's still a cool movie to me to this day. Just the concept of that movie is radical.
As soon as you said beyond its time, I was like, he's going to say The Matrix. It's The Matrix.
I mean, it's still good, right?
It is. Geez. Classic. All right. What is the worst advice you ever received?
The worst advice I ever received was when I worked at Constellus Group. One of the main PMs, always his mantra was just focus on the money. Just focus on the money. And I remember feeling empty, and I knew that wasn't accurate, but that was like just the coached methodology to make it through the suck or make it through the tough days, or focus on the prize. And the prize was just money. And that, looking back at that now, is the worst advice I think I've ever got, or the worst pep talk, worst advice.
Flip that equation. What's the best advice you ever received?
The best advice that I ever received, man, there's been a lot of good advice, but to keep it short, you're paid in direct proportion to your ability to solve problems. And yeah, I just keep that in my pocket as I'm building things or ideating and trying to find gaps, is to think about, where can I be of service, or how can I be of service? It's such a great question to ask as you're productizing and as you're a company owner. Don't forget that in the metrics and in the rigmarole of it all. At the end of the day, the simple way to truly rock it out and succeed is to make your people really, really, really happy.
That's awesome. All right. And where can the audience reach you?
So at Tim Branyan, it pretty much covers it all. LinkedIn is Tim Branyan. All major social media is Tim Branyan, timbranyan.com.
Cool.
LinkedIn's probably my primary social media though. So that's
awesome.
A good one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you, Tim.
Yeah. See you, Sean. Thanks for having me.